Good evening and welcome to Express News. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Let's begin with the stories. Indian Air Force Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla has scripted history as he is piloting the SpaceX Dragon aircraft launched for the much-anticipated Axiom 4 mission to go to International Space Station. The crew is travelling to the International Space Station on a new SpaceX Dragon spacecraft on the company's Falcon 9 rocket. The mission is being piloted by India's Air Force Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla. Shortly after the Axiom 4 mission successfully entered Earth orbit, Indian astronaut Subhanshu Shukla said, "India is back in the space once again after 41 years." India's President Draupadi Murmu wrote on social media site X that the whole nation is excited and proud of an Indian's journey into the stars. She added that Axiom Mission 4 proves the world is indeed one family. Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. Prime Minister Narendra Modi wished astronauts a successful lift. He said the Indian astronaut Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla is on the way to become the first Indian to go to International Space Station. Carries with him the wishes and hopes, aspirations of 1.4 billion Indians. Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh, Australian High Commissioner to India Philip Green and others celebrated the launch of Axiom 4 mission as it lifted off from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida, US. At the launch of Axiom 4, piloted by India's Air Force Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla, Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh said, "It is a proud moment for India and an inspiration for youth across the world." Parents, relatives of Indian Air Force Group Captain and astronaut Subhanshu Shukla celebrated the launch in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. His Axiom 4 mission lifts off on Wednesday. Hailing Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla, Indian Air Force took to social media and said that more than a mission, it is a reaffirmation of India's ever-expanding horizon. Marking 50 years since the imposition of the emergency, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday paid heartfelt tributes to the countless Indians who stood tall in defence of democracy during one of the darkest chapters in the nation's history. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has also recalled the painful chapter of independent India's history on Samvidhan Hatya Divas. The emergency of June 1975 is regarded as one of the darkest periods in India's democratic history, marked by constitutional changes, loss of fundamental rights, suppression of personal freedoms, and press censorship. Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Wednesday attended Samvidhan Hatya Divas 2025, marking 50th anniversary of the emergency. The minister launched a book, The Emergency Diaries, Year That Forged Our Leaders, that chronicles Prime Minister Modi's experiences during those years. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh arrived at Qingdao, China to participate in SCO Defence Ministers meeting. Upon his arrival, he was welcomed by Indian Ambassador to China, Pradeep Kumar. The Union Cabinet on Wednesday passed a resolution condemning 50 years of imposition of the emergency. Minister Ashwani Vaishnav said the Cabinet, at a meeting chaired by Prime Minister Modi, observed a 2-minute silence as a tribute to the victims of the incident. Chaired by Prime Minister Modi, the Cabinet approved the revised Sharia Master Plan worth 5,940 crores for addressing issues related to fire, land subsidence and rehabilitation of affected families in Jharia coalfield. As part of Operation Sindhu, 296 Indians and 4 Nepalese nationals were evacuated from Iran on a special flight that arrived in New Delhi from Mashhad at 16:30 hours IST on Wednesday. So far, 3,154 Indian nationals have been brought home from Iran. India-Vietnam 13th Political Consultation and 10th Strategic Dialogue, co-chaired by Secretary East P. Kumaran and Mr. Nguyen Man Quong, Deputy FM of Vietnam, convened in New Delhi on Wednesday. The two sides discussed ways to further strengthen the comprehensive strategic partnership. Consul General of India in Shanghai, Prateek Mathur, on Wednesday visited the Fudan University and met the university president. He also met the team of scholars at the South Asia Studies Centre and discussed issues of mutual interest. India's Minister of State for External Affairs, Pabitra Margareta, presided over the high-level segment as part of three-day Regional Passport Officers Conference and celebrations of 13th Passport Seva Divas held in New Delhi from June 23rd to the 25th. Indian equity indices ended on a strong note with Nifty around 25,250 on Wednesday. At close, Nifty was up 200 points at 25,244.75. The Sensex was up 700 points at 82,755.51 on Wednesday. Indian rupee ended lower at 86.09 per dollar on Wednesday. Meanwhile, gold futures maturing on August 5th were priced at Rs 97,315 per 10 grams on the multi-commodity exchange. And silver futures for July 4th maturity stood at Rs 104,882 per kilogram on the MCX. Union Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal stated that the government under Prime Minister Modi has focused on quantum change, not incremental progress. It focused not only on growth but on inclusive, sustainable and honest growth. And Brent crude costed $68 per barrel on Wednesday. Germany's cabinet has approved a draft budget for 2025 and a budget framework for 2026 with the record investments to revive the economy and strong commitment to defense spending. Argentina, IMF's largest debtor, has fallen short of foreign reserve targets tied to a new $20 billion deal. The setback forces Buenos Aires to seek leniency once again, highlighting persistent economic fragility. Chinese electric vehicle maker BYD has slowed its production and expansion pace as it grapples with rising inventory even after offering deep price cuts in auto market. NATO leaders on Wednesday committed to spend 5% of annual output on core defense requirements as well as defense and security-related spending by 2035. Affirming their enduring support for Ukraine, NATO allies declared Russia a long-term threat to their collective security in a joint summit statement. Speaking at the summit, NATO chief Mark Rutte said NATO agreement to hike defense spending will lead to quantum leap in collective defense. He stated that military aid for Ukraine this year will very likely be more than last year's €50 billion. Speaking at the NATO summit, US President Donald Trump claimed the joint US-Israeli strikes resulted in the total obliteration of Iran's nuclear capabilities that set its atomic program back by decades. Following a ceasefire with Israel, the Iranian authorities on Wednesday announced the gradual lifting of internet restrictions. Iran's parliament has voted to suspend its cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency, claiming that Iran's nuclear program would proceed at a faster pace. Iran's parliament speaker said that the country has approved a bill to suspend cooperation with the UN nuclear watchdog. And UN nuclear watchdog chief Rafael Grossi said that his top priority is getting his inspectors back to Iran's nuclear facilities. Grossi added that IAEA is yet to assess the impact of US and Israeli military strikes and verify its stocks of enriched uranium. Israeli Army spokesperson Brigadier General Efi Defran said that one of the key achievements of the operation was the damage inflicted on Iran's regional proxy network. Israel Transport Minister Miri Regev said that Israel is preparing to fully reopen its airports and expand international travel after President Trump announced ceasefire was agreed between Israel and Iran. US President Trump urged fellow Republicans in the US Senate on Tuesday to advance his sweeping tax cut and spending bill. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act would add trillions to the $36.2 trillion national debt. Donald Trump's Homeland Security chief praised the U.S. agreement with Panama on migrant repatriation flights and said Washington was ready to replicate it with other countries. During a visit to the Central American nation, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said United States was willing to pay other countries to do the same. Earlier, Noem also met Panama's President José Raúl Mulino and other senior Panamanian officials. Meanwhile, Democrats in the U.S. House of Representatives grilled Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as he appeared before a congressional committee to review health-related spending plans under Trump's budget proposal. China and Taiwan clashed over their competing interpretation of history in an escalating war of words over what Beijing views as provocation from Taiwan's government and said it is impossible to invade what is already Chinese land. The trial of an Australian woman accused of murdering 3 elderly relatives of her estranged husband using poisonous mushrooms entered its final stages on Wednesday. Erin Patterson denies the charges, which carry a life sentence, and calls it a terrible accident. At least 10 people have been admitted to hospital in Nairobi with gunshot wounds as thousands of Kenyans took to the streets on Wednesday to mark the one-year anniversary of anti-government protests. Hundreds of bottles covered the ground of Colombia's Bogota main square as part of protests demanding better working conditions for recyclers. The action aimed to raise awareness about the value of recyclers' work. And we're heading for a short break. There's more coming up.
This week on Defense Dynamics, a stealth mission shakes West Asia. The United States unleashes its B-2 spirit in the midnight strike or Iran's nuclear strongholds, a bold escalation in shadow warfare. We decode world's most powerful bunker busters from the GBU-57 to weapons built to crack concrete and command centers. India looks at the skies with a bold vision of 6th-generation fighter jets while reinforcing its air defense with indigenous shields over S-400, the Iron Dome of the East. High-tech firepower, geopolitical moves and future warfare. On Defense Dynamics, 8 p.m. IST, only on DD India.
Goa, a wild...
Welcome back. You're watching Express News on DD India. Let's resume with the stories. The India Met Department has predicted heavy rainfall in multiple states until June 30th as showers continue to disrupt normal life across several states. A yellow alert has been issued in Delhi, and according to the Weather Department, monsoon is set to arrive in the national capital by June 26th. The IMD has warned of heavy rains in many parts of western, central, eastern and southern India over the next few days. It has also predicted heat wave in Jammu division. Tens of millions of people in major cities across the US northeast are facing record high temperatures as heat waves grip much of the nation. In New York City Central Park, temperatures could reach 37 degrees Celsius, surpassing the area's past high of 35 degrees Celsius. United States National Weather Service said there is also the potential for record heat across other parts of eastern US, including northern Georgia, Carolinas, Virginia, Maryland and Pennsylvania. A landslide triggered by heavy rains in Colombia killed at least 8 people, injured 5 others. At least 10 people were still missing after the tragedy. In China, heavy rains have wreaked havoc, with over 80,000 people having to flee their homes due to severe flooding in southwestern province of Guizhou. Local authorities in several heavy rain-hit regions of southwest China's Guizhou province have deployed cargo drones to airdrop essential supplies to the affected areas with evacuated trapped residents. The UK has cut its carbon emissions by 50.4% since 1990 levels. Much of the drop in emissions are due to the closure of UK's coal-fired power generation plants. And to beat summer heat, people in Okayama, Japan, are enjoying the nagashi somen, cold noodles flowing down the bamboo shoots in water. The city of Shenzhen in South China is fast becoming the world's most dynamic hub for humanoid robots. The rapid robot development cycle is locally known as Shenzhen Speed. And Australia's carbon market is running smoothly and with sophistication. While it's not a windfall for farmers, carbon farming is helping producers diversify their income streams. And scientists in Australia have found sugar bag honey from tiny stingless bees as more effective than some antibacterial and antifungal treatments. A healthy baby koala at zoo in southwestern Japan has made its first appearance outside of its mother's pouch. Including the baby, 20 koalas are being raised at the zoo. And rare golden snub-nosed monkeys are thriving in a national park in central China's Hubei province. The species considered the real-life inspiration for the legendary Monkey King from the classic Chinese tale of Journey to the West. A hotel in the tourist hotspot of Spain's Ibiza features a glass-walled room located in its lobby, offering guests a free stay provided they do not mind being on display. In a bid to curb the housing crisis, local authorities in Spain's Ibiza are cracking down on illegal tourist rentals by using an AI software that detects illicit vacation listing. Hollywood's iconic actress and model late Marilyn Monroe's Indian doppelganger Daphne Sampson celebrated her 101st birthday. Sampson is a British model settled in India. Thousands gathered at Cusco's major archaeological site of Sacsayhuaman in Peru to celebrate the Inca tradition of paying homage to the sun god. The entire Raimi festival, considered key cultural attraction in Peru, has been central to Cusco's identity since the modern revival in 1944. Britain's Prince William celebrated finalists of Earthshot Prize at an event in London, highlighting innovations in environmental technologies. Earthshot Prize, launched in 2020, offers multi-million-pound awards aimed at funding solutions to global sustainability challenges. Several guests for billionaire Jeff Bezos' wedding have started to arrive in Venice, as speculations around the exact details of the events continue to circulate in the media. US President Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka arrived in Venice on Tuesday ahead of American billionaire Jeff Bezos' wedding this week. Indian film production and distribution company Bombay Films has announced an epic slate of films for the next decade as part of their ambitious animated franchise, the Mahavatar Cinematic Universe. Amir Khan's Sitare Zameen Par continues to hold strong at the domestic box office. On Tuesday, its fifth day since release, the film earned $987,000. Hollywood actor Scarlett Johansson and two-time Oscar-winning actor Mahershala Ali attended the New York premiere of Jurassic World: Rebirth. The film will be released in the UK and the US cinemas on July 2nd. American girl group Cat's Eye has released the music video for their new song, Gabriella. The track is the second single from the group's upcoming album, Beautiful Chaos. American rapper Cardi B has announced her second studio album, Am I the Drama, set for September 19th release. The album, her first in 7 years. Luxury brand Louis Vuitton kicked off Paris Men's Fashion Week in style on Tuesday with a spectacular runway show unveiling its Spring 2026 collection. Adding to the glamour, Louis Vuitton show drew a glittering crowd of celebrities including music royalty Beyoncé and Jay-Z. Disney took London audiences back to ancient Greece with its new musical Hercules, bringing alive its 1997 animation on the West End stage. In Hercules, British actor Luke Brady plays the titular character, the son of Zeus, who goes from zero to hero to stop the god of the underworld from taking over. The cast of Empty Again 2.0 hit the red carpet in New York on Tuesday to celebrate the release of the film's sequel. The film is written and directed by Gerard Johnstone. Let's turn to sports. India's ace javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra continued his winning streak by bagging the men's javelin title at the 64th Ostrava Golden Spike meet in the Czech Republic. Superb century from Ben Duquette helped steer England to a sensational 5-wicket win in the first test against India after thrilling day 5 on Tuesday. England pulled off a stunning chase of 371 on a gripping final day to go 1-0 up in the series. This was the 10th highest successful run chase in Test history. In Major League Cricket tournament, Shubham Ranjane and Donovan Ferreira led the Texas Super Kings to a thumping win over LA Knight Riders. New Zealand cricket on Wednesday announced their home schedule. The Kiwis will host 5 different international teams in their upcoming home summer. India's young batting sensation Tilak Varma made his county championship debut with a sizzling century for Hampshire. Cricket Australia has announced the schedule for the upcoming Australia A Women's Series against India A, set to take place across Queensland in August. And Australia's women's captain, Elisa Healy, revealed she will not retire after the upcoming Women's One Day International World Cup. Brazilian forward Neymar has signed a 6-month contract extension with his boyhood club, Santos. English football club Chelsea qualified for the knockout stages of the FIFA Club World Cup with a win over AS Tunis. After a few weeks of vacation, world champions Spain have started training in Madrid ahead of the upcoming European Championship. And Spain coach Montes Tomé headed the first training session with 23 players ahead of Euro 2025, including Ballon d'Or winner Etana Momati. French club Lyon have been demoted to League 2 because of the poor state of their finances. And Inter Milan is set to face River Plate on Thursday. The winner will advance to the round of 16 of the Club World Cup. And in another crucial encounter, Borussia Dortmund will face off against Salzburg HT on Thursday. And with that, we conclude this edition of Express News. Have a great evening. Namaskar.